So, hello and welcome to today's live webinar. So, I, Prannan Patil, welcome you to today's live webinar on future required programming languages. So, as you know that in the last session, I told you the importance of C programming language, C++ programming language and core Java programming language. Also, I told you that knowing the syntax of any programming language is not enough. With that your logic building or logic build should also be strong. So as you all know that in the last session we saw the importance or the growth or the requirement of C++ and core Java in the industry. Okay, and I was telling you about the Python programming. So as you all know that Python is very important and is the most important language in today's IT sector. That is why people prefer Python over other programming languages. That is, first point is it is syntax free. Second, it is easy to adapt. It is easy to adapt means that if any student, may he be from IT background or non-IT background, if he doesn't know anything about programming or he doesn't know how programming takes place or actually what we do using programming language, then too he can learn Python easily or adapt Python easily because of its features like its syntax free, its memory management, it does not support data type concept. Okay, and also latest industry trends like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, all these latest industry trends are also taught using Python programming language since Python is very easy to adapt. Okay, now let me tell you it's one of the most important feature that why Python is preferred over other programming languages as a programming language. So as you all know that Python consumes less memory compared to other programming languages. That is, for example, in Java, if you declare two variables, int a and int b, or two variables of integer type a and b, and you assign the same value or you assign a common value 10 to both the variables. Okay, in that case what happens is that the 10 value stored in a user defined variable, a unique memory address is allocated to the 10 value stored in a user defined variable, while another different unique memory address is assigned to the 10 value stored in the b variable. In this case as you know that more memory consumption takes place, but in Python if you assign same common value to both the variables, that is, for example, if you assign 10 value to a as well as b, in that case what happens is that a unique memory address is assigned to the 10 variable stored in to the 10 value stored in a variable, and what happens in the case of 10 value stored in the b variable is that the 10 value stored in b variable points to the unique memory address allocated for the 10 value stored in a variable. So we can say that both the values share common memory address, and in this way we can conclude that Python consumes less memory compared to other programming languages, and this is also one of the most important feature of Python, that why Python is preferred over other programming languages. So there are many other important features of Python. Another one is it's syntax free. Okay, Python does not support data type concept. Okay, again Python is syntax free. After that Python is easy to adapt means may there be any student from IT background or non-IT background and he wishes to pursue a career in IT sector, and if he does not have any knowledge about programming language or his base of programming language is not clear, in that case he wants to learn Python, so So it's very easy to adapt. So it's very easy to adapt. And also latest industry trends like artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning are taught or learned using Python programming language. So another important feature is that Python has many libraries. Okay, for data science we have NumPy, Pandas and Matplotlib library. For machine learning we have scikit-learn, TensorFlow, PyTorch. For web development we have Flask, Django. For automation we have Selenium and requests. Okay, the next important feature of Python is interoperability. That is, it can easily interface with C or C++, Java or even .NET code, making it flexible in enterprise environments. The next important feature is scripting and automation. That is, it is widely used for automating tasks, scraping websites, data pipelines and even deploying cloud infrastructure. That is, we also use Python programming language for software testing. That is, as you know, that we can do software testing using Java programming language, but we can also do software testing using Python programming language. That is using the IDE editor of Python, we can write test scripts and execute it. So now let me make you familiar with real world applications of Python. First one is artificial intelligence and machine learning. Most machine learning and deep learning models are written in Python today. Companies like Google, OpenAI and Meta use it for research and development. The second real world application of Python is data science and analytics. Analysts, researchers and engineers use Python to visualize data, run predictive models and derive insights. Now in data science using Python, what we do is we visualize the data, or we format the data, or we clean the data, or we do analysis on it, or we check columns data type, or we also check how many rows are there in it. Okay, or we do data visualization. After that, the next application of Python is real world application of Python is web development. That is, powerful web applications are built using Django or Flask, are fast to develop and easy to scale. The next real world application is automation and DevOps. Python scripts help automate testing, deployment and infrastructure management. So I would like to conclude by saying that Python is not just the present, it's the future of programming. Its simplicity, power and ecosystem makes it must-learn language for anyone entering the tech space today. Whether you are building web applications, analyzing data or working with artificial intelligence, Python has you covered. Okay? So now the next important skill is SQL. That is structured query language, and SQL is related to database. So as you all know that using programming language we design software application or web application or GUIs. GUIs means graphical user interface, and using scripting language we design web applications. But only designing software application or web application is not enough. That is only designing the front end is not enough. You also need database, or you can say that it is mandatory to have a database to store the data. That is for example, consider Amazon website. Okay, when you are new to that website and when you are logging in, you need to create a new account. And while creating a new account, you are asked details like your date of birth, the city, your full name, gender, etc. And after that, when your account creation or registration is completed, a unique a unique user ID is generated, and also you need to set the password manually. But after that, that is when you create a new account and browse through the Amazon website, and after that when you log out, and after a few days or after a month or after a year, when you log back in, at that time you need to log in, and while logging in you need to enter username and password. So when you enter username and password, or when you enter login credentials, at that time what happens that the login credentials which user enters are matched with the login credentials stored in the server of the Amazon website, and in that server login credentials of each and every user is stored, and unique user ID is assigned to each user. Okay, and when you are logging in, what happens is that the login credentials which user enters, it's matched with the login credentials of that user stored in the server of that company. Okay, so what happens is that if the login credentials are matching, then the user is able to log in successfully. But if the login credentials are not matching, then the user is not able to log in successfully, or it may say that username is invalid or password is invalid. So as I told you, that database is a mandatory requirement. Mandatory requirement means what? That it's not only enough to create a GUI or software application or a web application, or only create the front end of the application, or only creating the front end of the web application is not enough. You also need database, and you need to connect the database to it, and database we use it to store the data. Like for example, we need to store customer data, we need to store sales data, we need to store purchase data. That is, may it be any software. You need to store. Database is a mandatory requirement. That is, you need to store. That is, data should be stored. Okay. After that, now what is SQL? SQL is the languages of databases. That is, it helps you create, read, update and delete data from relational databases. Almost all major applications, from banking systems to social media platforms, store structured data in databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle or SQL Server, and they all speak SQL. It's used not just by developers but also by data analysts, data scientists, quality assurance engineers, and even business users. So as I told you, that only creating GUI or only creating front end and back end is not enough. Database is a mandatory requirement, and until and unless you create database, your that front end or back end is of no use. So you need to compulsory store the data. For example, consider there is a grocery shop and he has a billing software. So only creating the billing software or only creating the front end and back end of that billing software is not enough. You also need to connect database to it to store the data. That is, for example, if a customer purchases certain products and after that his bill is generated. So some details of that customer, like his name, city, mobile number, gender, these all are stored in the database. While his bill details are stored in a separate table. But you need database to store all these details. As for example, in case of that grocery shop, the bill details are used by that shopkeeper during audit. So as I told you, that database is a mandatory requirement. So in SQL, what all points are there? That is, first one is tables and schema. That is, data is stored in rows and columns with organized structures called tables. Then there are basic queries in SQL like create table, like create, alter, update, insert, truncate, rename. After that, select. So there are also joins in SQL like left join, inner join, right join, delete join, update join, to combine data from multiple tables. There are also aggregate functions like sum, count, average, first, last, and these all aggregate functions are used for analytics and reporting. There are also constraints and keys to maintain data integrity. Now you may ask, what is data integrity? Data integrity means, for example, while creating a specific table, if you have assigned primary key constraint for a specific column of that table, its meaning is that while inserting data into that table, in the column for which, while creating the table, for the column which you have assigned primary key, you need to insert only unique values in that column. You cannot insert duplicate values in that column. And due to this, how data integrity is maintained, that is, for example, consider there are two students, that is, one is ABC and second is PQR. Okay, if I assign same roll number, that is one roll number to both the students, then in this case data integrity is not maintained. And how data integrity is not maintained? That is if I want to display details of only ABC student, okay, using the query that select star from student where SID is equal to 1 or where S roll number is equal to 1. Okay, but since I have assigned same roll number to both the students, so what happens is that along with the personal details of ABC student, I also get the personal details of PQR student, and in this case data integrity is not maintained. Since we have assigned the same roll number to both the students, but as you all know that roll number should be unique. So as for example, I told you that while creating a table or while creating student table, if you have assigned primary key to the SID column of that, for the SID column you have assigned primary constraint for the SID column of that table, then it means what? That while inserting data into that table, you need to compulsory insert unique values in that table. You cannot insert duplicate values in that table, and due to this data integrity is maintained. That is, for example, if I have assigned 7 SID to ABC student and 8 SID value to PQR student, so when I execute select star from student where SID is equal to 7, in that case the personal details of only ABC student are displayed in the output or result set. Okay, and when I execute the query select star from student where SID is equal to 8, in that case only the personal details of PQR student are displayed in the output or result set. But instead of that, if I assign the same value to both the students, in that case data integrity is not maintained. And if I want to display only details of ABC or PQR and I execute the query select star from student where SID is equal to 7, in that case both the student details are displayed to me, which is not required or not necessary. So in this case data integrity is not maintained. After that we have also subqueries and views, which are advanced techniques to simplify complex data logic. And as you all know that learning all the programming languages or learning basic programming language C, C++, and on the basis of that you can learn any advanced programming language like Java or Python. Also you learn full stack for web development. In that way database is also a mandatory requirement, or you can say that it is a prerequisite. And as I told you that any software application or any web application is useless or it's of no use without connecting database to it. And also let me inform you that as there are specific positions like Java developer or Python developer or software engineer or software developer in industry. So there are also specific positions like SQL developer or database developer in the industry. So SQL also has a rapid growth in the future or in the industry. And there are common SQL database systems, or there are many database systems like MySQL, NoSQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB, etc. And what is the difference between all these database systems is that the syntax of query, that is, for in SQL create table query is for creating a table, syntax is different, while in MongoDB for creating a table, syntax is different, but purpose of both the queries at last is the same, that is creating the table. Okay, after that, now let me make you familiar with real life uses of SQL. That is, it is used in web applications, used for user login info, product data, orders. After that, it is used in data analytics, that is business intelligence dashboards like Power BI, often connect to SQL databases. It is also used in reporting and decision making, that is SQL is used to generate monthly reports, user activity, logs, sales trends, etc. And SQL is also used in automation, that is backend systems use SQL to fetch data, process it and send emails, notifications, etc. Now let me tell you why we use SQL in full stack development. So SQL is used in the backend to connect applications to databases using JPA, ORM, ORMS, Hibernate or direct queries. That is, full stack developers must know how to write efficient queries, optimize performance and prevent SQL injection. Okay, as you know that, for example, if you are learning full stack development mean stack, or if you are learning full stack development merge stack, so in both the stacks, as I told you that database is a mandatory part, and in full stack development we use MongoDB for storing data, or we use MongoDB as database. So you can say that SQL is very important, and as you are familiar, or as you know that learning programming languages is important, but also with learning programming languages, learning a specific database, may it be SQL, MySQL, NoSQL or MongoDB, it is also very important. And database is a mandatory part or required skill. Without database, your software application or your web application is of no use. So I suggest you all that along with getting familiar with any programming language or any web application, also please get familiar with any database, may it be SQL, MySQL, NoSQL or MongoDB. Okay, now the next one is full stack development. So as you know that full stack development refers to the ability to work on both the front end and back end of an application, as well as manage the database. It encompasses the entire web application flow, that is from client to server, server to database, database to server and server to client. So now let me tell you what is full stack development. In full stack development, what happens is that we design in full stack development consists actually of three main parts. First one is front end development, second one is back end development, and third one is intermediate development. Intermediate development means database development. In front end development, what we do is that we design the front end of the application. Front end of the application means what the user sees. Okay, front end of the application means what the user sees. That is, for example, consider Google's homepage. When you open Google's homepage, you are able to see Gmail link text, you are able to see images link text, you are also able to see a search box in which you type your queries. After that, you are able to see the Google logo. Okay, so front end means that part which the user sees. After that, backend, that is for example consider that I have designed a GUI, and on that I have created two buttons. One is save and second one is cancel. Okay, so save and cancel, these both buttons I have inserted in that GUI using the front end. But only creating both those buttons is not enough. When I click on save button, what should happen? That is, that specific file should get saved with whatever user defined name I specify for that file. And when I click on cancel button, what should happen, that the saving process should get cancelled or discarded. Okay, so what we do, that is the GUI, we design using front end. In front end, what we do, we use in front end, for front end development, we use technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Using HTML, we design the structure of the web application. Okay, using CSS, we style the web application. And using JavaScript, we define the user interactivity. Now, using JavaScript, we define the user interactivity means, that is, let me take the previous example only. That is, for example, on a GUI, you have created two buttons. But after clicking on save button, what should happen? Or after clicking on cancel button, what should happen? That we define in the backend. But the first and foremost thing is that user should be able to click on that button. And the second thing is that after clicking on that button, what should happen? We define it in the backend. So JavaScript, we use it for user interactivity. That is clicking on a button, or for example, selecting a single or multiple options from a drop down, or checking a checkbox, or checking a radio button. Okay, so JavaScript we use for user interactivity. HTML we use for designing the structure of the web application. CSS we use to style the web application, and JavaScript we use it for the user interactivity. User interactivity means how the user is going to interact with that front end. Okay, after that we have database. So for example, consider that you have created a student registration form. And in that, student needs to fill details like student name, student ID, student city, student mobile number, and student gender. So every time a new user or a new student fills details in it, and after that when he clicks on submit button, what happens is that data is stored in the backend. Using the database which we have connected to that web application. So it can be SQL, NoSQL, PostgreSQL, or MongoDB. Okay, and the last part is backend. And in backend, what we do, that is, as I told you that example, that only creating buttons is, for example, only creating save and cancel buttons is not enough. So when user clicks on save button, what process should take place? Or when user clicks on cancel button, what process should take place in the backend? That we define in the backend using any of the programming language. It can be C programming language, it can be C++ programming language, it can be Python programming language, it can be C#.NET programming language. So when user clicks on save button or when user clicks on cancel button, what should happen? That we define in the backend. Using any of the programming language. Now, which programming language to use? It depends on the client's requirement. After that, as I told you that these are the main three parts. Of the full stack development. So what we do, that is, we design front end separately, we design back end separately, we design database separately, and after that all these three parts are integrated, and a single web application is then created. But firstly, you need to create front end, after that you need to create back end, and then you need to create database. Okay, and after that these three main parts are integrated to create a single web application. So I hope you must have understand why we use full stack development. Okay, now next career opportunities in full stack development. Full stack development opens diverse career paths, allowing professionals to work in various roles such as full stack engineer, software engineer, or web developer, often leading to higher salary potential due to their versatile skills. So after learning full stack development, there are specific positions like front end developer, back end developer, or SQL developer, or also there is a general position like full stack developer. Okay, so if you only learn front end, or if you only learn back end, or if you learn the entire full stack development, it's always going to be worth it. It's always going to be worth it. So in front end development, we use core technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We use modern tools, that is frameworks like Angular, React. After that, we use responsive design. We create responsive design using Bootstrap, Tailwind CSS, etc. Okay. Now framework. Framework means what? That is the design. The design is ready. You only need to import main parts in it. Or you only need to do the required programming or the essential part, and remaining parts are already included in it. So in backend development, what we do, that is we define the server side logic, that is how data is processed, stored and sent to the front end. For backend development, we use core languages like Java, Python, Node.js, PHP, Go. For backend development, we use frameworks like Spring Boot, Django and Express.js. After that, key concepts in backend development are databases, authentication, APIs, server handling, file storage. Okay. Now let me tell you how they work. That is, as I explained previously, that first separately front end is created, after that back end is created, after that database is created, and all these three parts are integrated together to form a single web application or to create a single web application. So I hope how full stack development works point must have got cleared. So now the next point is career opportunities in tech industry. So from building applications to analyzing data, from cloud to cybersecurity, the demand for tech talent is higher than ever. So let me make you familiar with the hottest sectors of technology world. First one is software development. It is used for web development, mobile application development, desktop development, applications. So artificial intelligence and machine learning. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is used for predictive systems, chatbots, automation. It is used in cloud computing. Cloud computing for AWS, Azure, DevOps. Now cloud computing. Why we use cloud computing? We use cloud computing to store data virtually. That is, let me give you a basic idea of what we do using cloud computing. That is, we use cloud computing to store data virtually. That is, as you know, we use RAM or we use SSD, that is secondary storage device for storing data. But physical devices, physical memory devices or physical memory storages have a certain limitation. After some point or after one point, we cannot store data in that once it's full. But using cloud computing, we can store large amount of data. That is when we use physical memory storages, when we use physical memory storage devices, what they do, that is they occupy the memory physically. But when we use cloud computing, what happens, that data is stored virtually. That is it does not occupy a single bit or a single byte of memory. It's completely stored virtually. And let me let me make you aware of this fact that companies like Amazon, Google, Zomato, Flipkart, these all companies use cloud computing. Use cloud computing to store large amount of data. That is, they store data in servers. But that data is stored virtually. It's not stored physically. That is, as you know, for example, if there is an e-commerce application, you know that there are thousands and millions users of that e-commerce application, and it's just impossible to store data of all those thousands and millions of users using physical memory storage. Okay, so for that compulsory, or for that these companies or these e-commerce platforms use cloud computing for storing large amount of data. After that, using cloud computing, we also deploy the data, or locally host the data. Okay, and different companies offer different cloud computing services, like Amazon offers Amazon Web Services, Microsoft offers Azure, Google offers Google Cloud Platform. So different companies offer different cloud computing services, but cloud computing is essential to store large amount of data, and many companies today use cloud computing to store large amount of data. And let me also tell you that cloud computing is also the latest industry trend, and it's in demand. There are many roles like cloud engineer, AWS engineer, cloud DevOps means development and operations. Okay, I'll get back to that point later on. DevOps means development and operations. So the next hottest sector is cyber security, that is ethical hacking, risk assessment, compliance. That is, we use cyber security for risk assessment. That is, for example, if there is any fraud going on, we can detect it using cyber security. We use it for ethical hacking. That is in police department, in cyber cells, they use ethical hacking for detecting the fraud, or detecting any fraud like phishing, spamming, email phishing, etc. After that, the next hottest sector is data science and analytics, that is big data, insights, forecasting. Now, as I told you about data science, that using data science, what we do, that is, we clean data from the data set, we format the data from the data set, also we clean the data. After that, we also perform operations like we calculate mean of any column, we calculate median of any column, we calculate mode of any column. Also we visualize the data using data visualization. After that, what we do, that is, on the basis of that data, for example, if I have weather forecasting related data, on the basis of it, I can also forecast weather, or if I have sales data, on the basis of that data, I can predict the sale in the next 5 years, or I can also predict the sale in the next 10 years. Okay. After that, big data and Hadoop. This is also an latest industry trend and most important industry trend. After that, UI and UX design, that is designing user experiences and interfaces. UI means user interface, that is, as I told you, that is using programming languages. We also design GUI, and let me inform you that currently Python is playing an important role in designing GUIs. Python is the most preferred language for designing GUIs, that is graphical user interfaces. And as I told you, that Python is not only used for programming language, but it is also used for web development. That is, it is not only used for software development, but also for web development. The next hottest sector is blockchain, that is smart contracts, NFTs, etc. Now let me tell you the top career paths. Okay, let me tell you the top career paths. First one is full stack developer, second one is data analyst or data scientist, third one is cloud engineer or DevOps engineer, fourth one is cyber security analyst, fifth one is mobile app developer. Now mobile app developer is related to Android technology, about which I told in the previous session. That is using, like, as for example, using Java programming language we design software. In the same way, using Android language or Android technology, what we do is we design mobile applications, and it is also an important technology, and I feel that each and every individual must learn Android technology, since it's interesting to learn and also it's the latest trend. Also using Android technology you can design mobile applications. So the next one is AI and ML engineer, that is building recommendation systems, NLP tools, computer vision applications. After that, product manager or technical PM, who bridges the gap between business and tech teams, manage software developers, delivery. So now let me tell you what skill recruiters look for. So skill recruiters, now if you are applying for a specific position in a specific company, let me tell you what the recruiters look for. The recruiters first check your resume. In your resume they check the technical skills, like which all programming languages you are aware of or familiar with. After that they check which all database languages you know. Also after that they check that if you are familiar with any scripting language or not. After that they also check that if you know cloud computing technology or cyber security. These all things they check. And with that, as our topic was going on, let me tell you one more important thing, that many of you must be watching the Shark Tank show. Shark Tank India show. It gets aired on Sony Indian television. So I don't know many of you are aware of this thing or not, but previously what used to happen, that is resumes used to be sorted manually by the HR. Okay, by the HR. Previously what would happen, that is resumes would get filtered out, resumes would get filtered out or sorted out manually by HR. But today what happens in companies is that resumes are sorted out or filtered out using artificial intelligence. That is in today's world no one filters or sorts your resume manually. Your resume is filtered or sorted using artificial intelligence. That is while applying for any specific job application, when you submit your resume, it's not sorted or filtered manually, it's sorted or filtered using artificial intelligence. So in that case what happens is that may you have many knowledge, or may you have extensive knowledge, or may you be expert in any programming language or any database language or in web development, but while creating your resume, even if there is a minor spelling mistake in your resume, because of that minor spelling mistake your resume gets deselected, your resume doesn't get shortlisted, only because of that minor spelling mistake. Because of that minor spelling mistake your resume does not get shortlisted. So even if you have extensive knowledge, or even if you are expert in any programming language, in any database, or in any web development language, or in any scripting language, if while designing your resume, even if you commit a minor spelling mistake, because of that you will have to pay a huge cost, since companies today sort or filter out resumes using AI and not manually. And this thing is told in the Shark Tank India show by the founder of Zomato, by the founder of Zomato, Dipinder Goyal. If any of you must have been watching this show, I suggest you to watch this show. In this show, the founder of Zomato, he himself has told that in today's world, companies don't sort out resumes manually. They sort out resumes using artificial intelligence. Okay. Now the next thing is, that is, what are the soft skills you require while applying for a specific position in a specific company. So soft skills are, first one is, that is, your communication in English must be good. Your communication in English must be good. Since English is a common language which is used everywhere, and while working in MNCs or small scale companies, when you deal with clients, it's important and required to communicate with clients in English. After that you also require soft skills. Like you must need how to handle Excel. Again, you must also know the shortcut keys of the keyboard. You must know how to manipulate the data. There are many, as I told in the previous session, there are many minute details which matter while you are entering the IT industry. Okay. So now the next important thing is that you need to build your portfolio. Okay. After that also you can do some important certifications like AWS certification, Google certification, cloud certification, Oracle certification, or front-end frameworks. Okay. After that, so I would like to conclude this point by saying that technology is not just a job, it's a future-proof career. If you are willing to learn and stay curious, the opportunities are endless. Start building, start applying, start failing and improving. But the best time to enter the tech world is now. The only limit is your effort and consistency. Okay. Now the next thing is future of software careers 2030. Okay. So as we look ahead to 2030, the tech industry will be radically transformed. But the good news is software careers aren't going anywhere. They are evolving, expanding, and becoming more impactful than ever. So some important aspects of software careers are: artificial intelligence is used everywhere. It will be in future. It will be used for assisting in coding, testing, debugging, and decision making. Now let me tell you what is debugging. Let me tell you what is debugging in terms of testing. That is, for example, consider that you are testing a processor or a motherboard of any laptop. Okay, you are testing a processor or motherboard of any laptop, and while testing you find that any specific function of that motherboard or of that processor is not working properly. While testing you find that any function of that motherboard or processor is not working properly. In that case what you need to do is you need to raise that issue, and after that there is a separate team for debugging. What it does, that it works on that issue and it solves the issue, whatever the issue may be. Maybe camera may be not be working, or maybe the internal fan which we have, it may be not be working, or there can be any issue. There is also a scale, or you can also say there are different applications or different functionalities on the motherboard. And if any functionality is not working, it's the job of debugging team to resolve that issue. May it be the issue of internal fan, or may it be the issue of camera, or maybe may it be the issue of keyboard, or may it be issue of any secondary storage device. May it be any issue, it is handled by the debugging team. Now the next one is low code or no code movements. So it will empower non-developers to build solutions. Next one is remote plus global team. With remote first culture, talent will be hired from anywhere in the world. Next one is sustainability technology, that is software for climate monitoring, energy saving, green logistics will rise, cyber security becomes mandatory, that is with more data and artificial intelligence, security first development will be the new standard. That is as you know that artificial intelligence and machine learning, or you can say that artificial intelligence, it is in future it is going to be used for weather forecasting, for sales data forecasting, for employee attrition forecasting. Okay, after that automation engineers, that is they build systems that run, test, deploy without human intervention. That is in testing what happens is that in testing actually there are two types of testing. One is manual testing and second one is software testing. In manual testing what happens, that is you test the hardware, but in software testing what you do is that you test the web applications, and in web applications what you do, that is you test that all the web elements that we have included in that web application, they are functioning properly or not. Okay, after that let me make you familiar with emerging roles and salaries. That is artificial intelligence and ML engineer. What they do, that is they build intelligent systems, fine tune models, and expected salary range is from 12 lakhs to 35 lakhs from 12 lakh per annum to 35 lakhs per annum. After that, cloud architect role. Using cloud architects, what they do, that is they design cloud infrastructure, and the expected salary range for that is from 15 lakhs to 40 lakhs. After that, cyber security expert. What they do, that is they protect system and data, and the expected salary range is from 10 lakh to 30 lakh. After that, the next role is quantum software developer. They develop software for quantum computers, and the expected salary range is from 20 lakhs to 50 lakhs. After that, full stack developer build end-to-end applications, and the expected salary range is from 6 lakhs to 20 lakhs. After that, data scientist they extract insights from data, and the expected salary range is from 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs. After that, DevOps engineer, they automate deployment and infrastructure, and the expected salary range is from 8 lakhs to 22 lakhs. After that, prompt engineer and AI trainer. What they do is that they craft AI prompts and trains models, and the expected salary range is from 8 lakh to 18 lakhs. After that, in the future, the technologies that will dominate are Python, TypeScript, Go, web development technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, GitHub, Copilot, ChatGPT, API, etc. And let me tell you the companies which are hiring tech talent. Those are health tech, edge tech, fintech, green tech, defense and space tech, remote collaboration, and metaverse. Okay, so for getting hired in any specific company on a specific role or for a specific role, what's the most important thing is, first one is consistency, that you need to remain consistent and updated with the latest trends. Second one is that, as I told in the previous session, that only being aware of the syntax or only logic building or only strong logic building is not important. Strong logic build and knowing the syntax both go hand in hand. After that also knowing the minute details of any programming language or any database language or any scripting language is very important. As I told you that when you are interviewed, recruiters decide to hire you on the basis of the knowledge of minute details you have. Recruiters decide to hire you on the basis of the knowledge of minute details you have related to any programming language or any database language or any scripting language. Okay. After that, you also need to stay updated with the latest industry trends, and you also need to focus on soft skills like communication, adaptability, and creativity. Okay, so I can conclude by saying that the future of software careers is not just about writing code, it's about building ethical, intelligence, secure and impactful systems that shape the world. By 2030, tech professionals won't just build apps, they will solve real human problems. So keep learning and remember, the future belongs to the adaptable. Now, the next thing is that I would like to make you familiar with ABC trainings. That is how you can empower your coding journey with ABC trainings. So now let me take a moment to introduce the place that made my own journey possible, ABC trainings. We are not just another training institute, we are a community of learners, mentors and innovators helping individuals build strong future ready careers in technology. And let me make you familiar with our mission, that is to equip learners with industry relevant skills and practical experience that lead to real job opportunities. And our vision is to be India's most trusted platform for hands-on, affordable and impactful tech education. We believe that anyone can become a developer, analyst or tech leader. All they need is the right guidance and ecosystem. So now let me make you familiar with what courses we offer. We offer courses like full stack development, front end development, backend development, SQL, MongoDB or Oracle database, data structures and algorithms. We also help in interview preparation and resume building. As I told you previously, that today in industry no one sorts the resumes manually. Resumes are sorted using artificial intelligence, and if you may be an expert in any programming language or in any database or in any scripting language, but if you commit a minor mistake while creating the resume, because of that minor mistake you need to pay a huge cost. That is, you may be expert or you may be having extensive knowledge, but because of that minor spelling mistake, what happens is that your resume is not shortlisted and you won't be able to grab that opportunity, or you won't be able to grab that job opportunity or that specific position. Okay, now the next thing what we offer is practical learning. That is, we offer real world projects, we assign regular assignments and coding tasks, and also as I told you that we also make you familiar with the minute details, may it be any programming language, may it be any scripting language or may it be any database. Okay, after that we also have flexible modes. That is, we offer online and offline batches. We also have weekday and weekend options, and we also have access to recorded sessions. That is, our trainers record videos on each and every course, and if you have any doubt you can refer those videos and I guarantee you that your doubts will be cleared. So now let me tell you that what makes it different. It's that first one is industry oriented training. That is, our curriculum or syllabus is aligned with current job trends. We also have expert mentors, that is trainers with real world experience. And now let me tell you success stories and career impact. That is, students from non-CS backgrounds have landed jobs at Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Capgemini and Zoho. Final year students are building portfolio projects that impress recruiters. Many switching careers from non-tech to full-time developers, testers and analysts. So from zero coding knowledge to a software job, this is the journey of each and every student over here. Now, how you can get started is that you can visit our website or center or book a free counseling session. Then after that you can choose your course and then you can start learning. Also we offer demo lectures. That is, if you are interested in any specific course related to software or related to scripting language or related to database, we also offer demo lectures, and on the basis of demo lectures also you can decide that you want to continue or you wish to pursue that course or not. So I would like to conclude by saying that no matter what you are starting from, with the right mindset and the right mentor, you can build a career in tech. At ABC Trainings, we are not just preparing you for your first job, we are preparing you for a lifetime of growth. So let's empower your journey together. So now let's have a quick recap of what all I told, or what all we saw. So the first one is that the core programming skills that remain foundational are C, C++, Java, Python, SQL and full stack development. The incredible career opportunities available across software development, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cyber security and more. The future outlook, how software careers will evolve by 2030 and why adaptability is key. And finally, how ABC trainings can empower you with skills, mentorship and support to start or grow your tech career. And now let me tell you one last thing, that is, remember, a career in technology is one of the most dynamic, rewarding and future-proof paths you can take, but success doesn't come overnight. It requires dedication, continuous learning and resilience. Every expert was once a beginner. The difference is that they kept going, kept building and kept learning. So you can say that consistency is the key to success. Okay? And lastly, I would tell you that visit the ABC Trainings website or contact us to explore courses tailored to your goals, or book a free counseling session, that is, let us understand your aspirations and guide you, or enroll for a demo class to experience our teaching style and curriculum firsthand. Okay? Or join our community on social media and discussion forums to stay motivated and connected. So your journey begins with one decision. Make that decision today. And lastly, if you want to contact us, this is the mobile number you can contact through, or scan that QR code for the inquiry. And lastly, I would like to thank you all for listening to me so patiently, and I hope from this session and the previous session, many of you must have learned many important things, or many of you must have been acknowledged or got familiar with many important things which are required in today's evolving tech world, or many of you must have been exposed or got aware of many important things which are really required in today's growing and expanding tech world. So thank you for listening to me so patiently. Let's meet in the next session.